Welcome to another edition of Wings Weekly. Jay Klein Connect here, and of course, head coach Steve Jennings. Coach, a lot of games to talk about, so I thought we'd just dive right into it and start with Wednesday. A 4-3 win over Johnstown, getting things kicked off at the Showcase there. They scored 27 seconds in, but your guys answered back and evened things up, and then, of course, took the lead and ended up with the win. How'd you feel about that game?
You know, I thought it was good, the response we had from the kids after giving up that early goal. I was happy the bench didn't really collapse, right? There was a lot of determination to get back into the game and really kind of let that go. And that's a big part of the game early. When we give up a goal like that, is not letting that define what the game's going to be. There's a lot of hockey left to play at that point. And
sure.
I was happy with the response. And I felt like, again, I think every time we've gotten on the ice, we've taken positive steps. And I found that to be another positive building block for us, the way that game went on and the way they kind of stuck to it and pushed through.
Absolutely. Great to get started with a win like that, too. A 1-0 loss to Shreveport on Thursday, but a very tightly contested game. Very well played, I thought, from both sides, really. It ends up coming down to one goal, but not a lot of give on either team. And I think as a staff, you guys felt like your team played pretty well.
Yeah, I think we were again, the difference in hockey from the first game to the second game was pretty big. I think both teams were really up for that, rematch, if you will. I mean, the rosters were very different, but between the clubs and between the franchises, I think everyone knew what it was all about, and I think there was a lot of people rising to the occasion on both sides, and really found the atmosphere to be strong, but I found the play to be tremendous, right? And for both teams. I mean, we made it equally hard on each other. They got the one break, and that's unfortunate there. And but overall, I liked the game and how we handled it, and I thought again that helped us finish the last 2 days with on a positive note.
Sure. Well, then you go into another night game with Springfield, and maybe not the best start in that first period, but things started to improve as the game went along, and you end up winning that one 6-3. You talked about prior to that game that specialty teams was going to be big and that the power play needed to come through, and it certainly did. Your special teams were really good against Springfield. Yeah, we weren't happy about the start for sure. We had, we'll just say, a very clear talk about expectations after the first period, and I think the second period on, the boys really responded, and the special teams on both sides, on the power play, but also on the penalty kill, was really good. And again, we've been trying to take little steps on both sides of the unit there, and I feel like both of them did. And I know, as successful as we were on the power play, we also were successful in frustrating them on their power play, which was great for us. Yeah. Well, then you go into an afternoon game to close it out, a 4-3 win over Corpus Christi, and a really strong start. 3-0 after the first period. So whatever you talked to them about after the start at Springfield, it worked because they came out on fire against Corpus on Saturday afternoon. And again, you end up with a 4-3 win there. Obviously, like I said, a real strong first, but overall, your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I thought we talked about needing to have a good, strong start because that game, it's the fourth game in 4 days. In terms of what we had done to get to that point, we've had double sessions pretty much every day we've been here. So it was the end of the fatigue kind of rope there, and I feel like we kind of showed that in the second and third period. I think I won't say we collapsed. I think we let them back into a game we didn't need to let them back into, and I think that last goal that they got right before the final buzzer there, left a mark for me. It was just a unfinished business that we need to find a way to better close out a game like that, and I think that's the one thing we took. Zach and I, as we talk about it, is we need to work with the kids a little bit more on being able to manage and play with the lead and not allow it to kind of start to get interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like there were a couple of times we allowed games to get interesting that we didn't need to let happen.
Well, and you mentioned it, and that was going to be my next point. Actually, is 4 games in 4 days is not an easy task, and you are going to have guys where they're maybe starting to reach a little bit or something instead of moving the feet or whatever, because there is a level of fatigue, even though you try to work some new names or different fresh legs in and so on. Do you think how much, I should say, of that letting them make games interesting was because of that? I mean, because you wouldn't. Do you expect that in a weekend where you've got 2 games? I mean, I wouldn't think so. No. I think that the fatigue aspect kind of plays into it quite a bit, doesn't it?
I think it plays into it. I think as we change the roster again and we're juggling the lineup as we're going through the showcase, and we are still in the player evaluation process. We have some roster reductions that we have to make here in the next week or so, and so in order to do that effectively, we have to give kids chances and give opportunities. So there's a factor of like fatigue, but there's also, while kids are building chemistry, we're messing with the chemistry a little because maybe the line combos are slightly different today and tomorrow, and and some kids it's a real opportunity to shine, and for other guys it detracts a little from the chemistry. So I think it's really a factor of both. But I think just putting it on one side or the other is just really more an excuse than anything like that. And I think that, we have a good, solid crew of kids who are here playing for us and working hard. And I don't think we need to make excuses for them, and I don't think you are. I just think we need to recognize and respect that it's 4-4 and it's tough, and it doesn't happen but the one time a year. And I think, going forward, I think our expectation can and should be much different.
Okay. Well, a really strong week for Kyle Gaffney, and he was named captain earlier this week. I mean, the accolades that he earned at the end of last year, and the huge push that he had in the playoffs, and just coming up with big time goals at big time moments. I can't say that I'm all that surprised, but captain is so much more about character and so on too. What did you guys see in Kyle that you wanted to give him that C? Also, how much of it was from the guys in the locker room, or was it all coaching staff that made the decision?
Yeah, so like about 20 different questions there, so I'll try to remember all 20 of them.
So there's only 2 really, and it is, why Kyle? What do you tell us about him? And did the other guys in the locker room have any input? I mean,
I think we always, in terms of the locker room input, right? We don't do a formal vote like maybe people might have done previously. And I don't think Scott did that either. Really for us as we look around, we try to pay attention to who's the room looking at, and where the room always identifies who the leader is.
Sure.
Right? And so, Kyle is a relatively quiet kid. He speaks with his actions. When he does speak, he's got something to say, and people sit up and listen to him. And I think as you look at a captain, that's really what it is. I mean, I don't really feel the need to have a rah-rah captain who's going to get up and push the room.
Right.
I think we have some people who do that. But I think Kyle, he exemplifies in how he plays and how he prepares and how he treats people what a captain really is, and frankly, what a wing is.
Yeah.
I mean, he is, I think, truly a no-brainer if there is one.
Okay. Well, and in years past, I've mentioned that it's funny how sometimes, as you said, sometimes you do have a very vocal captain. Other times it's somebody that's pretty quiet. But like you said, when they do say something, it catches the attention of people, and then often, as you mentioned, they lead by example. So that's pretty awesome. And we're going to get a chance to talk to Kyle here in just a little bit. Right now, Wings are in second in the overall in the standings, or tied, I guess, with North Iowa. Austin with 7 points at the top of the division right now because of their loss was in overtime. Then the Wings and North Iowa with 6, Minot with 3, St. Cloud with 2, and Bismarck with 0. A young Bismarck team. Coach, you head down to Mason City this weekend. North Iowa also went 3-1 in the showcase. You've seen them a handful of times now, including the preseason. What do you feel like you've got to work on, and what have you got to do against the Bulls to keep the wins rolling?
Well, hey, I know they're going to watch this, so I'm probably not going to give all the answers. I think for us it's really we need to continue to define who we are, and there are still some tweaks we need to work on, both and frankly in all 3 zones, specifically D zone and in the neutral zone. I think that's the area we need to work the most on this week. I think we've taken steps in both, but I think we can again continue to progress there. And I think for us, we need to recognize that the teams we played down there, again, probably going to be just like we will, slightly different, slightly more of the regular season look and feel of what the games are going to be. And I think we really need to be prepared to get in and play 2 hard games there in a town that's used to having a winning culture and a winning tradition, and they brought a bunch of league veterans in there as well.
Okay, well, I won't press you anymore because I know coaches don't like to give up secrets, so or go into something that you don't want to say. Smack was always terrible about that. He'd give me the dirtiest looks. All right, well, Coach, I appreciate you taking some time to talk with us a little bit. Congratulations on a nice run there in Blaine and some good hockey played, and best of luck coming up against North Iowa Bulls.
All right, thanks, Jay.
All right, folks, we'll be back with our second portion of Wings Weekly coming up after this.
We raise the bar on bar food with sandwiches, tenders, and there's more where this came from. To the greatest of all times.
Wings Weekly continues on, and as usual, the second portion of today's show and of most of our shows throughout the course of the season will feature a player, and this time it's Kyle Gaffney, Plymouth, Michigan. Kyle, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Well, boy, 3 goals, 18 assists last year, 1 goal, 3 assists already this year. Last year you were plus 23, Rookie of the Year, Most Improved. Voted by your teammates and so on. The accolades go on and on. And I got to tell you, I wasn't the only one that was really impressed by your play over at the Showcase and the level of hustle and grit that you played with. Probably part of the reason that you were named captain. So we're going to get to that in just a moment here too. But what did you think of the Showcase? Those 4 games, it's tough. 4 games in 4 days and different times and schedules and different things. It's tough for a player to kind of keep the body going and stuff, I would imagine.
Yeah, 4 games in 4 days is definitely tough. It was a grind, and going 3-1 is, I think, definitely an accomplishment. It's tough to play new teams. Like, we haven't played most of the same teams last year. It's tough to play new teams, and thought we did good, and some of the games weren't pretty, but it's good to come out with 3 wins.
Yeah, for sure. Strong showing they were at the Showcase. Well, as I mentioned, you were named captain. That's a pretty big honor, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about not only how that it feels to when they pull you in the office and have that conversation, and you realize, okay, this is happening. That's gotta feel pretty good. Let's start with that. What was your first reaction, when they talked to you about being captain of this team?
Well, Steve pulled me aside and said he's gonna, on the ice, he's gonna have me do the captain stuff, talk to the refs. But I saw it on Instagram first, actually. So, the official, I saw that. So
interesting. Okay. That I did not expect. All right, that caught me off guard. So then you see it on Instagram, and you're like, whoa, so this is official. I'm going to have a C on my sweater.
Yeah.
That's interesting. All right. Well, what do you see as a captain's duties? I mean, what's important for a captain to do well and to kind of provide the team?
Lead. I mean, just being a vet, you got to lead. But, I think we had a lot of vets last year. It was an old team last year, so it was good for the young guys just to be able to learn a lot of new things. And Clay, just our leadership group last year, Clay, great captain, a lot to learn from, and definitely going to be some big shoes to fill there.
For sure. Did you get any advice from your brother who also played juniors and so on, or maybe even Clay reached out to you, or anybody say, hey man, here's what you got to do?
Clay just texted me and said, just do your thing. I think he's got some confidence, and I'm definitely gonna think of what Clay did, because he was a great captain, and just take some of his attributes and use those too.
Follow that example, huh?
Yep.
Okay, let's see, moving on. You are committed to the University of Alaska Fairbanks, and you did that last year, actually. So I'm curious about that decision, about what made that decision for you, or what was that moment, I guess, where you went, you know what, this feels right, this is what I'm going to go with.
I think it was the staff. Yep. They were just easy to talk to. It just seemed like a good fit, and obviously there's a lot of Wings players going there. Mm-hmm. Cade this year, and Suey and Verts from last year. So it's definitely nice just knowing some guys going in. So.
Yeah, that would definitely help. And there's been a lot of Wings that have gone up there lately.
Yeah.
going from college, just wanted to ask you a couple of questions. I mean, if say you're done in your 4-year career or whatever, what's your dream job? What would be a job where you're like, this is that, man, if I could do anything, this is what I want to do?
Well, I was just thinking about like real estate, just kind of on a real note, but
Yeah.
Dream job, I don't know. I mean, as a kid, it was always just playing the NHL, but
Yeah.
it would be a dream. But yeah, I don't know.
Oh, for sure. But if not the NHL, it's real estate, huh? What about real estate is it that you like? Just the buying and selling the properties, though? What's...
Yeah, it just seems interesting to me.
Yeah.
My brother's buddy does it, and he talks about it a lot, and it just kind of caught my eye.
A lot to it, for sure. A lot of moving pieces. I can see where that would be challenging and rewarding at the same time. So very cool. All right. Well, what do you like to do when you're not at the rink, when you're not working out, when you're not skating, when you're not with the team working on, preparing for the next games or whatever? Do you have any hobbies or anything?
I like to golf. I was hoping today would be a golf day, but it's a little rainy.
Yeah.
Just started a movie club, watching the Marvel movies right now. I think we got Iron Man up next, so
Nice.
we'll be watching some of those today.
So by movie club, does that mean you watch them and then get together and like pick them apart and say, I really liked this part of the movie, or how does that work?
No, it doesn't
It's
get
not
to
like
that
a book
extent,
club
but-
where okay, because book clubs, that's kind of what they do, right, Megan? I mean, am I wrong? All right. I've got another kind of not goofy, but a weird question, I suppose, or not weird. Dream car. If you had, are you a muscle car guy? Are you a sports car guy? Maybe a Jeep guy? Like, what if you could have any vehicle? What would it be?
Man, Mercedes G-Wagon maybe.
Mercedes.
Yeah.
Luxury.
My buddy had one of those. It was pretty cool. So
You got, with the Mercedes, you got a little bit of a luxurious, but also sports cars. A lot of power there too. So kind of a mix. All right. Well, this coming week, North Iowa Bulls. This time in Mason City, but the regular season. You saw them down there preseason, and then of course in the showcase, you got a chance to play against them again. What do you guys, as a team? I talked with Coach a little bit about preparation and film and things that they've got to do as a coaching staff, but as a player, what do you think that you guys as a group need to do to come away with some wins this weekend?
I think just kind of recover from the long showcase. I think that's going to be huge.
Yeah, you guys had today off, right?
Yeah, today off. We did some yoga today, so I think that's definitely going to help in the recovery process. But yeah, just watch some film. Just have a few good skates here and a good pregame out in Mason City.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to watching those games. Of course, they'll be available on Hockey TV and so on. We'll run through that here real quick, by the way. Wings are away Friday and Saturday, September 24th and 25th at the North Iowa Bulls in Mason City. Puck drops at 7:30 both nights. You can watch the games at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Aberdeen or at hockeytv.com. Listen on 94.1 The Rock, hubcityradio.com, or the Rock app. The Wings return to Aberdeen for their home opener on Friday and Saturday, October 1st and 2nd, as they host the St. Cloud Norsemen. We'll get you more information on that on next week's episode. But again, all home games, unless otherwise listed, are 7:15. Season tickets and corporate night sponsorships are available for the 2022 season. Call Aaron at 605-380-5852 for more information. Don't forget, Wings Weekly is now a podcast. Find the audio for this season's episodes on Spotify, Stitcher, or iHeartRadio. And for all the latest news and information on the Wings, visit AberdeenWings.com or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. Well, Kyle, I think that's about all I've got for you, but I appreciate you taking some time to talk with us a little bit about the process of going from last year to this year, as a veteran, being named captain and all of those things. And again, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
C. So,
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well earned. All right, folks, that'll wrap up this week's Wings Weekly.